Hi Dan, this is Kevin Dye with Dye Painting. This is like a quick little walkthrough video and let you see what I see. Definitely a cool little walk down area here. I like to do these videos so that we all see the same thing at the same time. So far, pretty much your standard stain. The steps and stuff, I'm not sure. I think these would obviously be included in the whole situation. So what I like to do is I kind of come through and we pressure wash everything, and screws are reset and so forth. A lot of the stain looks pretty good. It looks like there was at one point a double eave system here, as in this high stuff right here was a clear. So we're going to have to try to get in and sand some of that, and we can do a clear on it. And then this here was a stain itself. We also do a couple things a lot of the other companies do not do, and that is we pay special attention to the tops of these posts, as well as any boxes and big gray cables and stuff like that. We paint just like a dark brown. We spray paint, and we clean them up so that they just have a nicer look. Yeah, so this looks like this was all done with a varnish. At some point, it looks like somebody had actually masked it and done this. It doesn't look too bad. It definitely looks like it could use a coat. Deck seems pretty good. So far what I've seen is the door definitely needs a light sand and a spar varnish on this door. Not a big deal. We do it all the time. It's kind of like one of the extras that we usually do on these jobs. The deck appears at this point to be just a good cleaning. We need to get out here, we need to clean, we need to reset some nails. Let's take a look at what we have. Got a woodpecker hole up there, nothing too major. So far pretty standard. We do a lot of houses like these. I've got a lot of these. Oh, this is really cool, it wraps around. So we do a lot of these. Deck, the cleaning of the deck is definitely important. It needs to be addressed because it looks as if it has been stained at one point. Now when we do these, we reset nails and we scrape out the slats because we need drainage of water. These guys here, I can give you a separate quote for just doing another coat of spar varnish on these, and kind of letting you see. Another coat of spar would be awesome. And then obviously this house, the body of the house, the railing, everything, the deck would all be stained. Pretty simple stuff. This can sometimes get a little time consuming, these guys, to do them correctly. As I'm sure you know, I see tape there, so at one point somebody was doing them, and you know, that can be you know, we can't spray that. I like to actually do that with a I like to do that with by hand and make it look a certain way. So if I fall down here on camera, don't laugh too hard at the video or send it into America's Funniest Home Videos, because I'm going to go the long way. Oh, okay, another little door. Same thing down here. Oh, that's a cool door. Same thing down here, just a stain. It definitely needs stain. It needs to be sealed up. Let me see here. Now what we usually do with these is we clean the bottom and we just kind of do a fog coat of stain just for a protector. I don't usually charge to do that. The reason behind that is when I do these beams and they're all detailed out with stain, it's easier for me just to spray all of it than it would be for me to mask this stuff. So that's why it's the same time would be to mask it. So I just usually clean it. I get rid of a lot of like little dots and stuff, and then we go ahead and just put a coat of stain. In this climate, there's still snow on the ground. Obviously there's a little snow over there for you. But with this climate and everything else, stain is imperative, and we put a lot on. That's the whole idea behind all of it, is we try to stain as heavily as we can. I don't like to have anything you know, dry. We try to get the appearance of the house actually dipped. So far all cut and dry, all somewhat easy stuff. You just needs a really good cleaning to really get all the stuff out of there and just clean it off really good. Now I did obviously see the high stuff up on the roof. That's not a big deal either. We have our own ladders, specialty ladders just for that. This guy here will take a little bit, and now we can also, I'll put a la carte, but we can also just shoot a coat of stain on this. Now some people will often, you know, opt out of that if it's, you know, like $400 or $500 maybe, you know, to do all these retaining walls, all of them on both sides, and the big deal over here. But the thing sometimes with that is that now when we do these, we do underneath as well, we spray all of it. But the thing with these that is so important, like on that guy up there, is it's just so costly to replace. So anything that we can do to help keep these, you know, the longer we can get out of them, the better, is, you know, a big deal. So that's why I often will just, you know, put an a la carte in there if people are interested. If not, it's not a big deal. Pretty cut and dry stuff. Like I said, your pop out sides are obviously on the other side over there, but pretty cut and dry stuff. On these guys, we sand the handrail. We just sand the top so that has a nice smooth appearance. They seem pretty stiff and they're strong, so that's a good thing. We like to get a nice little sand to clean those up. Let me see, what else do I see here? So this railing appears on some of it, this appears to be a semi-transparent or a transparent stain here. And this guy here and some of this deck appears to be a semi-solid. So my suggestion is we keep that. We clean this guy out really good. We make it look like it was just built yesterday. And then we use the semi-solid out here. And we could even use this semi-solid on this deck as well, because it appears that that's what it was at one time. It's just got enough wear. So it appears, now we can take the semi-solid onto the other decks too and make them all uniform, very utilitarian aspect, but we can make them all uniform and make them all kind of tie together. So that is something as well. It's the same cost, it's the same amount of work, but you know, taking the railing and trying to get all the railing in one coat together. I know you had said that you had done some of the railings, so you might not, you know, you guys might think, hey, that's good enough right there. It's been done recently and you don't want another coat. And that's okay too. I do see some areas that could probably use some more. And again, you know, with we kind of fix stuff like this and we go through and get them so that it's all matched together. But again, I can write that all a la carte and let you just see what I see. All lights, fixtures that are gray, as in your plates, and all your light fixtures are actually taken down and sprayed a nice brown to match the surroundings and put back up. So they actually look like new lights. We are kind of based in our detail. That's what we like to do, and it's usually, you can tell the houses that we do, is that it's a complete finished project. Like a product like this, we probably wouldn't, because this light's been damaged, it appears, and so for that one, we would just take it down, stain behind it, and put it back. But it doesn't change the fact that sometimes, you know, like on some of these, like when you camouflage those in and paint them a nice brown, we carry that brown in the truck, so it's usually not a big deal. But we appreciate having that little detail, and usually stuff like that, that's just in the cost. We don't really charge extra for that. There's another light up there. Big thing is getting in on some of this varnish work. That's going to be our issue, because if we get in and can clean up some of this and sand some of it, yeah, it feels like it's time. The thing with varnish is it needs to be done in 2 coats. So basically a lot of that would just be, you know, we're going through and doing that by hand, and we don't spray that stuff. And I like to use a really good spar. There's 2 different companies that I use. And then we also address up high, like I said, the tops of these beams, and we need to get in on those and make sure that they are cleaned properly. That's very important, the cleaning aspect, like the cleaning on top of that window. And then if we need to use any clear caulking to make sure of any leaks or so forth, we can do that as well. This whole deck situation up, it definitely needs it, but I don't know if I would suggest a complete refinish, as in sanding sanding down to bare wood. I would probably suggest just a really good cleaning in a coat of that semi-solid stain that's on the back here. And I know you said you had a mix that you used, and so we can definitely discuss that more in detail. I just do things a certain way from how I see. So for me, I would suggest we go with, I'd almost suggest you go with a solid, I'm sorry, a semi-solid, so we can still see the wood and not even mix. You would get a longer run with a semi-solid than you would with a mix. You'll get better longevity if it was completely covered. And that obviously would be your trim, the trim of the house, the fascia, is, if you would. All that fascia appears to be Oxford Brown semi-solid. So that's kind of where we come. And then it would be the windows are also with a semi-solid, a transparent stain on the body. So transparent on the body. Windows would be a semi-solid. And we could even match the whole house together by tying in the fascia trim, the window trim, and the decking all with that semi-solid. And it would basically make the house two different stains, and then the varnish, and the same varnish we use on the eaves we could use on the doors. So you would basically narrow it down to 3 products, and that would probably help as well. I'll just throw this out here. I'm not shopping you on anything here, but for us as well, many times when we see people and they've decided to either build like an awning on these poles right here, either they're building an awning, or they are or there was an awning at one time and they took it down. What we often do many times as well, and that offer is there, is we actually can cut these if you so desired. We can actually cut these so that, we pick like right here and we cut them and we can stain them, so that way in time you could put like the little LED lights on them or what have you, because right now with their height they're starting to bend out a little bit and you're starting to get that look, a creaky look. But so that's there as well. It doesn't have to be, but we just, if that is something you might be interested in, well, we can always deal with that as well. And we just kind of, maybe leave these top 2 right here and then cut some of the other ones to get rid of that pure look. So that's there as well. And if that's not an option, that's not a big deal. You just thought we'd mention it. I mention things when I see it. So that's my walkthrough, and I'm going to put some stuff together and we'll go from there. Thank you very much for your time, and we'll talk soon.